I mentioned before that some people can be hung up on like, oh, you're American. I think that's compounded a little bit more with the sisters. Well, I would say that because that was my experience. I'm not exactly sure how it is for the elders. I know that some elders did have problems with women coming on to them, but our mission president would say, sisters, you have a special light in your eyes, and people it pulls them in, it draws them in, which is good because you can point that to Christ, but you have to be careful because there's some people that are confused by it. And without a doubt, it's hard in the mission sometimes because you'd receive unwanted attention, but as long as you kept clear boundaries and you obeyed the rules in terms of don't go teach a single male without like a woman accompanying you, and also just be careful with your relationships with people in the church and out. So even in the church, you have to be careful. Make sure that everyone knows that you're devoted to the Lord and that you're going to be obedient, because sometimes being nice can come off as sort of flirtatious, and it can cause problems. And so you just, even if you have to say so verbally, like in my second area, there was a member, he really, really liked me, and to the point where there was one day where he surprised me and my companion, and he like proposed to me essentially, and it was really, really awkward. And so I just had to sort of really make sure he knew I am a sister, I'm devoted to the Lord. I can't do that. I really appreciate that you respect me and you care for me, but the best way to channel that is to just serve the Lord. And so things like that will happen, without a doubt, in the mission. Uncomfortable things will happen, but if you're being obedient, and don't be afraid to talk to your leaders, your district leader, zone leader, or your president if you're feeling like there's a threat anywhere, because sometimes that could happen too. Luckily, mine never got to that level, but don't be afraid to talk with them about it, because they're not going to get mad at you. It's not your fault. But if necessary, they could transfer you, or they could talk with that person. And so it's nothing to worry about. There was never any assault or anything in my mission. It's a pretty safe mission, but there's still sometimes those moments where, it can get uncomfortable. And I'm sure that's echoed all across the world for sisters. So yeah, just be careful and just be happy and be good. Yeah. I mentioned before that you want to wear like lighter clothes. Make sure that those aren't like transparent. So like this is like a pretty light shirt, but it's not transparent. So things like that are really good. That way, like, you can get a breeze and stuff. But the problem is, if you have skirts like that, then, you have issues of it blowing around in the wind. Something that a few of my companions and I did is we sewed rocks into the bottom of our skirts. So the skirt is still really, like, flowy and light, but it doesn't fly where you don't want it to. So yeah, it's actually pretty easy. So just get a couple pebbles or whatever, and just if you have a little sewing kit, or even just like tape for a day, you just tape them in. There was one day I didn't have time to get rocks, and so I just taped our keys. Like, it's just funny because some of the areas are really, really windy, super windy, like unbelievably windy. So it's problematic sometimes, but yeah, it's a fun little tidbit there. So.